Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yo, I'm doing good.
Matt, it's great. We're here, back again. The Saturday Morning Arcade Tag Team. Matt, got to shout out our boy Rakush for filling in last week when Matt. Of course, when I'm not here for a week, I have to thank you for always holding down the reins. Matt, I know I usually thank you end of the show. Got to start off thanking you in the beginning of the show as well. For you and Rakush to come together to have an episode last week. Matt, you pulled the curtain back. I had this whole bit about us doing a Vault episode, but not transparency. I really appreciate that. All our friends listening appreciate that as well. Matt had this whole bit about doing some Vault stuff, but got that out of the way. But Matt, listen to last week's episode. And my initial thought was, can't believe my boy Rakush put me on blast like that. Not, I tried. I don't want to say I'm in my One Piece era right now, but I'm looking at the shelves that currently surround me in the Mistake Zone HQ. And as Rakush mentioned, I have my Luffy figure, I have my Boa figure, and that, I'm looking at my Robin and Nami acrylic standees and that slippery slope right now.
Oh, man.
But Matt, you proposed a question last week to Rakush.
I did?
Or was it Rakush posing the question to you? Anyway, a question was asked of what you thought a One Piece was will be. And Matt, as a certified One Piece expert, just because I have 4 pieces of One Piece merch right now, Matt, I can't believe no one dropped One Piece will end up being the friends we made along the way, where I know nothing about One Piece, but Matt, how likely will the One Piece be? I know you're not the One Piece expert here, and I should probably be asking Rakush this, but how likely will the One Piece be some physical representation or manifestation of friendship?
Jaren, I wouldn't be surprised, considering that One Piece is like the place to see your Nakama. Or to like pull the phrase Nakama from.
Matt? Are you still following Fire Force?
Fire Force is done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Matt,
Jared, the ending of Fire Force is wild. You need to go through Fire Force. The ending of Fire Force is wild.
Because the only reason I bring up Fire Force back to segue from One Piece right now is I haven't been catching up, or I haven't caught up with the manga, but there were a few times over the past, couple year or two where you would link me the latest chapter and I would just read it because you were telling me how wild it was. And that those chapters you linked me got really wild, where for some reason with One Piece going on as long as it has been going on, I have no point of reference, but you would assume for something that like going on for that long, it would also kind of go off the rails, sort of like those chapters in Fire Force. But I can't actually speak to that, where I wouldn't, for some reason, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those later One Piece chapters, as they approach the end, somehow bring in the One Piece live action cast somehow.
That'd be wild.
That's me in my sick and twisted head, the same sick and twisted head as Rakush says. Doesn't understand how Boa, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Matt. Boa and Nico Robin aren't the same person. Matt, come on.
They're basically the same person.
Is that the One Piece where we realize that all the women in One Piece kind of look the same?
Yeah.
But I digress, Matt. Matt, I'm making myself look bad. But you know what's looking really good right now? Is the treat on my desk. And I'm assuming also on your desk. If it wasn't clear, I went on vacation. I brought back some chocolates. And I dropped some off at your place at the Saturday morning clubhouse the other day, Matt. And I haven't dug into these right now.
Yes.
But, Matt, I'm talking about this European chocolate. I'm not sure how prevalent it is there, but point of reference, I know there's a Filipino. I saw a Tim Hortons when I was on vacation.
Yes.
And they had a Filipino
person working there, yeah.
Matt? Possibly. But they had a Filipino, the chocolate concoction I'm holding right now, but they had like a mix. I want to say it was sort of like their fraps, the Tim Hortons frap, not necessarily the ice caps, but their frap drinks that they have. But so, and then also for breakfast one day, Matt, I just went to a convenience store around the corner and got like one of the Filipino ice cream sandwiches. So yeah, Matt, I'm holding the first treat I wanted to talk to you about was the Filipino chocolate.
Yes.
Matt, my bag, I know the one you're holding is from, I bought yours in Barcelona. The one I'm holding is from Porto.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same flavor. But Matt, mine says the original Filipinos, and that makes me laugh a lot.
Oh,
but Matt, I handed you a bar, not necessarily a bar, a package of Filipinos. Matt, what's your initial impression of the Filipinos chocolate?
Jaren, I'm just looking at them right now. I haven't eaten one yet. And these are, like, actually pulling them out of the package, I was expecting something more donutty than biscuity based on the packaging.
Yes.
But I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to taste.
Okay, Matt, I know when I brought it over to you, Matt, it's really warm where we are. Warm being an understatement. There's also a heat warning this week. So, Matt, is your chocolate melty?
Jaren, I put mine in the fridge almost immediately after you gave it to me.
Nice.
And Jaren, I was a little late for recording today. And that is because this slid into the back of my fridge and I had to pull out so many things to get it out of the back.
Had to do it for content, Matt. Had to do it for content. So, Matt, let's do it. Double ASMR from two friends eating Filipinos chocolate from Porto and Barcelona. Matt, what are your initial impressions of the Filipinos biscuit chocolate?
I don't know what word to use here. The biscuit itself is a lot more crumbly than I was expecting it to be.
Yes.
I was expecting a much more firm biscuit, but this is more like, the first word that pops into my head is sandy, but I feel like that has a bad connotation to it. I don't know what word to use.
I know what you're talking about, where I see where you're coming from with the sandy comment. Not necessarily it's bad, but I think when I initially bit into it, it really does remind me of those kind of chocolate digestive cookies that you can buy. I don't know, like Peak Freeze.
Is that like something? Maybe like it's a malt cookie or something?
Yes, something similar to that. I know for some reason the actual biscuit set portion is sticking to the crevices of my teeth in a way that I wasn't expecting. But Matt, it's not bad. It does like remind me. What?
I've eaten like 3 of these already.
Matt, you into them?
No, I'm gonna move them away from me, or else I'm just gonna keep eating them.
They're pretty good, Matt. I can see why people. The only reason I knew about the Filipinos chocolate is because some girl on TikTok I came across said they were really good, and she was surprised that people were gatekeeping them. Europe was gatekeeping them from North America.
Was she Filipino?
No.
Oh.
But Matt, they're pretty good. Again, they do remind me of one of those chocolate digestive cookies that you can kind of get. The brand escapes me right now, but it comes in that red box, I guess. And it's pretty good. But yeah, the biscuit portion is sticking to my teeth in a way I wasn't expecting. Not that it's bad, but it's something that I've noticed.
Peak frames.
Yes. And yeah, chocolate. Matt, it's just standard chocolate. Where
I think the chocolate's
it's a good snack. Yes. Now, Matt. So as I said, I bought mine from Porto, and then yours from Barcelona, Matt. The one I have directly had 140 euros on the package, so you sold for 140. Matt, 225 euros in Barcelona because the price wasn't actually on the package.
Yeah, that's how they get you. That's how they get you.
And Matt, the conversion from Canada moon money to European moon money, not the best. Not the best. But let's say 225, that's roughly let's say 340. Matt, would you pay 340 for that Filipinos chocolate?
I think if I really wanted it, I would.
Okay, but Matt, so Saturday morning approved, or Mistake Zone approved Filipinos, good chocolate. But Matt, we have another treat. Because while I was looking for Filipinos, I ran across cups, conguitos. Matt, this seems like Spanish peanut butter cups.
Yes.
But not necessarily Spanish peanut butter cups. Matt, color scheme is orange and yellow, which screams peanut butter cup, so I had to buy them.
Yes.
So Matt, for context, these were, it's a 2-pack. They're a bit on the smaller side where...
yeah, okay, Jaren, I can't tell if maybe this just melted or if it's actually thinner than a usual peanut butter cup.
No, it's pretty thin from when I got it as well. But yeah, the reason I picked this up was, this reminds me of peanut butter cups, and I love peanut butter cups. So Matt, these were €1 each, so that's probably around 150. A bit on the cheaper side, but Matt, let's get into it. Yeah, initially, for some reason I was like picturing them as like little pucks, but they're actually peanut butter cups, just like really thin peanut butter cups. Now that I'm opening it, and here we go.
I'm into that.
This is way more milk chocolate. The milk chocolate to peanut butter ratio is insane to me.
There's like, this is far more chocolatey.
Than a peanut butter. It's like a really thin layer of peanut butter. But it's pretty... Oh, Matt, the peanut butter is actually kicking in.
I think the thing that like really stands out to me for this is the texture. I like the texture of this.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Matt, for €1, not bad.
So can we buy these in Canada? This is actually really good.
This is actually really... This sounds disgusting to our friends listening right now.
It doesn't help that it's like a very creamy chocolate. Peanut butter doesn't taste like really like gritty, like a normal peanut butter cup does.
Yeah, it's actually a really smooth one where I'm going to say it, the packaging really deceptive because Matt, I'm looking at the actual cup on the package and that's way more peanut butter than you actually get into it, but it's not bad. I actually really like this. And I think with a Reese's peanut butter cup, while it is more peanut buttery, that peanut butter texture is a bit on the... I don't know if you agree, but to me, I find peanut butter cup peanut butter a lot grainy.
Yes.
So for... oh, shit. Sorry, dropped it. For conguitos, it's just a really smooth chocolate.
Yeah.
Really good hint of peanut butter. I enjoy this, man. I enjoy this. I think it's worth the €1, so 150 Canadian converted.
Like,
but
I think so 150 euros converted to Canadian is what? Like $2?
No, it's €1, and then I think it would be 150 Canadian here.
Oh, true. I think that's even cheaper than like a normal peanut butter cup pack, and I think I'd rather buy this over a peanut butter cup pack, anyways.
But Matt, I feel like that's 2 for 2 hits from European chocolate that I found on a corner store. But yeah, do recommend if you are looking for actually the conguitos. I really like. Filipinos is pretty good too. Kind of wish I went into that Spanish Tim Hortons to see what Filipino beverage they had. But Matt was beating around the bush. I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks. We had a Vault episode talking about the Fallout show, and then you and Rakush filled in last week, but I have returned from my vacation.
We've kicked Rakush off the show again.
Yep. Thanks, Rakush. But yeah, for 2 weeks, it was to Portugal and Spain specifically. In Portugal, we went to Lisbon and Porto with a stop in Sintra, just for a palace museum. And then in Spain, it was mainly Madrid and Barcelona. But Matt, this was my turn to go international travel, for a vacation. And I feel like for this vacation in particular, this was, between me and my partner, I think the least prepared we were for a vacation, in a sense that when I think back of our times going to Japan and sometimes Korea, we had these big agendas, these itineraries, these places that we really wanted to go. And for the most part for this trip, it was mostly we were going to Porto for the Primavera Sound Music Festival, but only for a day, just because it happened to coincide with our time there, as well as just a handful of restaurants. And for the most part, it was kind of just us going, picking out cool museums or spots we wanted to eat or check out. But yeah, mostly that. Not a lot of pre-planning, but just, occasional Google searches of what people were recommending, what TripAdvisor was recommending, what TikTok was saying. But yeah, that was kind of pretty much how we were approaching this vacation in particular. And I think, I don't know about you, Matt, but when you're packing for a vacation, do you sometimes get that thought of, oh, you're overpacking, but you're also underpacking at the same time? Where that was also my mindset kind of going into it, where, of course, it's the summertime. I brought a lot of shorts, Matt. I brought a lot of, button-ups and t-shirts just because I thought, it was going to be really hot. Matt, mistake number one for me, because in Barcelona specifically, when we got there, downpouring. Like, it was really bad when we got to Barcelona. But I think Spain in particular was a lot colder than Portugal overall. And even by the last day or in Porto, we were, that was the day we went to Primavera Sound and we wanted to go to the music festival. And for the whole week we were seeing, Friday's going to be raining. It's going to be really damp. And that also was putting a damper on things, where I really wish I packed a lot more. I only had like 2 pairs of pants and a actual good sweater, because Matt, as someone who didn't bring a sweater, and as someone who, I've told you before, Matt, I've told our friends before, gets sick really easily if an air conditioner is blowing cold air at me just the wrong way. Matt, I got sick in Porto, and that wasn't fun. Because, you know me, Matt, I love me some coffee, drink a lot of coffee, but if your taste buds aren't 100% because you have a cold, a lot of not only the coffee, but also just the food we were eating is lost on me, because I can't appreciate that fully. But I digress. Starting off with Lisbon in particular, for Portugal, Matt, we got an Uber and we were driven to our hotel. Matt, I told you this about Korea last year, and I'll especially say this about Portugal and Spain. Driving terrifies me. The idea of driving in Europe terrifies me, especially those 4-lane roundabouts, Matt.
Oh God, Jaren, when I look at those, I want to vomit.
I do not understand how a 4-lane roundabout is supposed to work. And then you have, I'm just watching my drivers every time we essentially took a Uber from either a train station or an airport. And every time they went, even a bus going to the festival, every time they had to go through a 4-lane roundabout, I just had an anxiety attack, just because it's so many cars switching lanes out of nowhere. And it's that understanding of course, when you grow up in Europe, when you learn to drive there, you understand everything. But as someone who is so used to Canadian driving and at most, Matt, I feel like our roundabouts, or at least the ones I've experienced in Canada, are just that single lane. And if you have a second lane, it's usually just for like a right turn.
Yeah.
So,
Jared, what are the middle lane or like the innermost lanes of the roundabout used for? Is it honestly just like passing?
I think it's passing, but even Matt, I wasn't sure. All I know is I wanted to vomit every time I was in a Uber in not only through the roundabouts, but in Portugal specifically. It's such a hilly region. Just going through all these different one-way streets with cars parked on both sides, and you're just kind of going up and down, Matt. Don't credit to all the drivers out there, but anxiety the whole time. Where you know me, Matt, I hate driving, so being driven around in those cases, we tried to walk to everywhere we wanted to go. Not much public transit, and we only really Ubered from, as I said before, where we're staying or airports and stuff. But in those moments, terrifying for me.
Oh man!
But I'm glad that I bought a new pair of shoes. We bought new pairs of walking shoes specifically for Portugal because of, as I said, the hills. Matt, just how hilly Portugal is was insane to me. Where there were some instances where we would be going like up just all these staircases up these steeper hills, and I'd just be gassed. I'd have to like stop halfway through, where I thought about your adventures, and then you kind of, walking uphill in the rain. Matt, if it rained, I would have just called it off and said, no, I'm going back into the hotel.
Jared, I can't imagine doing that with luggage. That sounds like I'd want to die.
So, Matt, the only time we walked from a train station to our hotel, it was in Porto, just because in that instance, it was only, I think, a 10-minute walk. So we tried it. And it wasn't too bad since it was mainly downhill. And it wasn't as steep as some of the hills we saw in Lisbon. But at the same time, it's... You know me, Matt. I don't want to like inconvenience all the other people walking around with like my rolly carry-on and like my big backpack or whatever. But yeah, so we're in Lisbon. It's all hilly. If you guys ever go, to all our friends, really recommend a good pair of running shoes or just walking shoes in general, something with good support, because whenever I would see people in, flat shoes, like a Converse, like a Vans, Matt, not sure how their feet were handling that.
Oh, man.
But some of the places that I wanted to kind of call out in Lisbon, the first night we went to this bar called Collect. Really good vibes, Matt. Essentially, this bar is what you would expect if I were to open in my own bar. Really good atmosphere. Essentially, the walls were lined up with, one wall was lined up with all just hip hop vinyl records. Other wall with like EDM records. So really good vibes. The drinks that they had one menu that was essentially based off lucha wrestlers, and then another based off of different, producers or DJs or singers. So that was kind of the vibe. My only thing about the place is I ordered, Matt, essentially every time I went to a restaurant, I tried to order an espresso because I'm an insane person and I just wanted to, taste all the different espresso. Waited. They didn't give it to me immediately. Had to kind of ask the waiter kind of a few times. And then at the end, when I said, when we asked for the bill, the espresso was there, said that they didn't have it. They tried to get it one more time, but eventually the owner just came out and gave me my €2 in cash back and saying, sorry, we don't have it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, we also went to this place called Cantino do Alves, this fine dining place, really good risotto. Matt, got the steak sandwich, and I kind of wish I just got an actual dish because, Matt, €15 for... It was a good steak sandwich, but I feel like I should have got a main when I was there. So,
I see.
my partner ordered the risotto, so recommend that as well. I think the next day we went to this another restaurant called Antu Al Fama. And Matt, getting here was a trek just because this was a Friday night and we had to kind of walk through all these different kind of alleys, but it was those alleys where there's restaurants and bars on like both sides. So, and for some, I forget the occasion, but there's just this big party going on, and trying to traverse through this big, essentially block party to get to a restaurant. It was a trek, man. It was a trek, but good place. We got a Summersby sangria drink there. That was fun. Talked to the kids from Berkeley who just graduated and they were doing their trip. They were beside us. True. So shout out to them. The day after, we went to this breakfast place called The Folks. Another good place. Really had some good eggs Benedict there. And I think the last place we went to in Lisbon was this, small sandwich shop. It was cash only. It's called Bafanas of Alfonso. So, just a small sandwich shop specializing in Portuguese sandwiches, cash only, as I said. Matt, we got it to go. Kind of wish it was a good sandwich, but it was also really salty, where I kind of wish we stayed just to put, either mustard or the sauces that they had inside, just to kind of cut the salt. But at the same time, it's such a small location where there was already like 2 people eating there. And it's, I kind of wanted just to kind of go back to the hotel, eat this, and then, get ready to check out and get to the train station. But overall, Lisbon, really fun, good food all around. And we ended up going to Porto right after. I guess during our Lisbon trip, we also took a day trip to Sintra for a National Palace Museum. And that was, we're museum people, so it was just a good museum just to go through. Really historical. But one thing I wanted to mention about this was you're able to traverse this castle. You get to go to the very top. There's like peacocks also running around, so you can get good peacock photos as well.
Oh, true.
But at one point, we were up on like a pretty high tower, and then across, my partner was just, taking, just landscape pictures and just pictures of the view and whatnot. And she was facing the other like a tower opposite of us, and two girls noticed my partner taking pictures, and they waved to her and asked for a photo. And so my partner took a photo, and then she yelled airdrop, and then they gave her a thumbs up, and then we met, we went down the towers and then met in the middle, and my partner airdropped them the photo that she took. I shouldn't be surprised, but this was the first time I've ever experienced taking a stranger's photo for them on your own phone and then sending it to them right after, where in my notes specifically, I wrote airdrop, underline, double exclamation point, where maybe I'm just super antisocial, as our friends know, me listening, but that whole thing, pretty wild to me, Matt. Pretty wild to me. But second leg of our trip, we went to Porto, and Matt, Porto probably had my favorite place that we went to just overall in the trip.
Is this where you bought your anime figs?
No. We went to this place called 7G Roasters. It's a specialty coffee place. And I enjoyed this place so much that we went twice. And the second time I did their coffee tasting menu, just because the first night we went there, we went maybe an hour before closing, and then they recommended if you want to do the coffee tasting menu, you need at least like an hour and a half to do it. So I do recommend it, just because the coffee tasting menu is 4 of their drinks. It's an espresso, a cappuccino, their brewed coffee, and then my favorite drink that I got there. But every time they bring you up a cup, they'll explain where they get their beans, what their brewing process is like. And I don't know, it was just really informative. The coffee was delicious. But Matt, 7G or 7G Roasters. They pride themselves to be the only place in Portugal to do lemonade coffee, where it's this mix of. I thought it was just coffee and lemonade, but man, it was probably one of the most unique things I've ever drank. You know me, I'm a coffee person. I do also like lemonade, where it was actually it's mostly a lemonade, but you get that hint of the bitter coffee. Like it does sound like kind of weird when I explain it to people. But when you actually try it, it's such a unique taste where it's just that hint of coffee aftertaste in between the kind of lemonade that you receive. And they were explaining how it's not necessarily them mixing coffee and lemonade, just because the first time I had it, I thought, okay, when I get home, I just need to know the proper balance of mixing coffee and lemonade. But, they were explaining how it's them trying to make sure nothing's wasted, and it's kind of them infusing coffee bean or leftover coffee beans, or just leftover coffee, where it's not necessarily the same kind of drink every day. It's just depending on what they're kind of making, not necessarily reusing, but what I'm trying to say. Hopefully I don't sound like I'm raving, but it was a really unique taste where if you do ever find yourself in Porto, I do recommend checking them out.
I mean, Jaren, maybe they're lying to you. Maybe they just don't want you to make lemonade coffee at home.
Fair, Matt. Really fair. But I really did enjoy this to the point where went twice, had to get another lemonade coffee, and then got some merch from them as well, because Matt, they had some cool hats, cool shirts, so I had to. I know my friend said for Porto there was a lot of good fish, so we did go to a bunch of different restaurants, trying different, cod cakes, and then just fish, octopus, whatever. It was all really fresh. Some restaurants in particular that stood out was Taberna Diavo, Restaurante Al Mija. There was also a coffee place near this one whose name I can't seem to find, just because when I was going through my credit card statement, it was just the owner's name rather than the
maybe that's the name of the restaurant,
cafe itself. Possibly, but I couldn't find it on Google, which made me sad. And then also Taberna dos Mercedores or Dores. But yeah, Porto, really fun, really good food. But Matt, the hotel we had, people in Porto, they don't play. If someone's just blocking the street, if there's a taxi that stops even for a brief second to let someone out, barrage of honking, where in our hotel room, every hour you would hear kind of like a honk. And it wasn't kind of annoying. You kind of get used to it. But Matt, Porto people, they don't play. If you're blocking the streets, they'll be sure to do the beeping. Damn. So Porto also had the really fancy McDonald's that I also sent you some pictures of. And Matt, this looked like a really fancy train station, but it was a really fancy McDonald's. And normally, I don't know about you, Matt, but whenever I'm kind of traveling abroad, I try to hit up a McDonald's just to see what they have. Specifically, nothing too out there. I think it was just McFlurries that I wanted to, using kind of European chocolate. But Matt, we might have done McDonald's back to back, because also we ate it after the festival on our last day. But Matt, 20 McNuggets for, I think the conversion price is like $9 Canadian.
That's pretty good.
Didn't seem bad to me. Didn't seem bad to me. But yeah, so the last day we went to Primavera Sound. We mostly went for Friday for Lana Del Rey. Luckily, it didn't rain. But yeah, this was the first time we've done a music festival in such a long time. I think Lana was really good live. Good vibes all around. Nothing too much to say about Primavera Sound specifically, but what I do want to mention, Matt, two things from Primavera Sound. One, it's kind of the festival takes place in kind of this central park where to the side there were a few condo buildings, and that it was pretty sweet seeing people, like, especially at night when the headliners are up, just people in their balconies watching it. I thought it was pretty cool too. And even when we were walking back to the bus stop, you just had people camping out on like the streets, just kind of listening in, which I thought was a good vibe as well. It sucks because Justice was also the second headliner for that day, and then their set got canceled, which saw a lot of people with Justice merchandise that felt bad for. But when we were waiting for Lana Del Rey to get on stage, we were old, Matt. The days of us, trying to wait up in the front, that's over, unfortunately. So we were kind of in the back in the field, just, waiting for it to start. Matt, to our left, we saw a group of kids on a picnic blanket playing Uno for like an hour until Lana got on stage. So wanted to shout out the Uno kids. They got their game going, and Lana came on stage really good. And that was our time in Porto. And what I did want to mention is in the Porto airport, when we were waiting to fly to Madrid, they had a bunch of, arcade machines that had free play. I saw Pac-Man. I saw some Street Fighters, which I thought was really cool. And got a few rounds of Street Fighter against the PC because no one stepped up. But Matt, if someone stepped up, oh no, my flight's here, gotta go. Because I hate socializing with people I don't know. But Matt took the flight, went to Madrid, and Matt, I guess one of the restaurants we went to during Madrid was Bodega de los Secretos, where it was kind of fine dining again, had some really good octopus there, but it was one of those things where you go down like 2 flights of stairs and it's just this big restaurant where all the tables are kind of in these like little enclaves. The walls are kind of, it really reminded me of being inside a fancy cave with the floors just being well done. I don't know. It's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. But yeah, I think with Madrid, it was, so with Porto and Lisbon, that was, that's how I kind of see European, that European villa, especially in the areas that we kind of stayed at. So it really has that architecture that I've kind of romanticized in all the media that I've seen of Europe. But when we got to Madrid, Matt, this was straight up reminding me points of downtown, especially like Times Square was really busy. But once you get away from all the tourist spots and you're just kind of going down like the side streets and the alleys, it was pretty good people wise. But man, Matt, for someone who wants to, try all these fine dining cuisines, Matt saw some Burger King, saw a Jollibee, had to fight the urge to go to Jollibee, Matt. We were near a KFC. We walked by the Tim Hortons, Matt. Had to fight the urge to go to all these fast food places that I'm used to, but I just wanted to see how different it was. But Matt, as I said, on vacation, I want to do fine dining. So I told you about Bodega de los Secretos, Matt. I have one more restaurant that we went to, and Matt, I want to get your genuine reaction to the pictures I'm going to send you, just because I have to send you the pictures of where we ate.
Okay. Oh, you sent these all at once. Okay. Jaren, I cannot believe you went to a place called Anime Ramen.
Not only the best dining when I'm on vacation. Matt, we were on our Uber. Jared? Shout out to our Uber driver. And we drove by this place. My partner was just like hitting my arm saying, "Oh my God." And then, Matt,
Jared, the doors on this place are insane. This has to be the show art.
You know me, Matt. I don't want to let my memes be dreams. Where if I see an opportunity to meme, especially in order to talk about it on our audio journal podcast. I have to take it, Matt. I have to take it. But at the same time, while I was sitting in Anime Ramen in Madrid, Spain, and I was sitting in, having being surrounded by this Naruto decor walls,
I really like the
manga
walls.
panels.
Yeah, I like the manga panels as the wallpaper, I guess.
I didn't take a picture, but Matt, the window that lets you peer into the kitchen, a bunch of neon signs. There was the Naruto logo, there was the Sega logo, there was the Nintendo logo. That was the atmosphere. But Matt, while I was sitting inside Anime Ramen, I thought I was too. The saying, Matt. I was too occupied, or trying to think if I could meme this hard, and I never thought if I should meme this hard. Man. Matt, the menu to Anime Ramen we had dumplings.
Yeah.
We had kimchi.
Okay.
We had various Japanese dishes. And of course, Matt, I had to do my baseline tonkatsu ramen.
Yes.
Which I also sent you a picture of. And Matt, this is going to sound really harsh, but it's a technicality type of harsh. If I were to rank all the tonkatsu ramen I've ever had, I think my anime ramen would skew towards the bottom. That's not necessarily meaning it's bad per se, but I've just had really good tonkatsu ramen in the past where there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. Just the broth was really flat. The noodles were okay. And kind of as you see in the picture itself, it's not, you don't really get the pork pieces. It was like grounded pork as well, where again, just technicality in that, I've had better tonkatsu ramen, but the thing about anime ramen in Madrid, Spain is if they half-assed it, I feel like this whole thing doesn't work. But kind of sitting inside, they went for it. They're anime ramen. You're sitting in an anime-inspired restaurant, and anything less than what you get, I feel like it just doesn't work. Where the food's okay at best, but at the same time, I feel like you're not necessarily going for the food. You're going for the fact that you're eating at an anime ramen. And no lie, Matt, while we were eating, 3 times we saw people walk back, peer into the restaurant, and genuinely looked shocked that people were actually eating in here. Where, again, it commits to what it wants to do, and I feel like that should be commended. Where,
Jaren, I just want to, based on the pictures that you sent me,
yes,
it seems like any other table that I see is empty.
Matt, that was strategic. When we were in there, there was a group of a family table of 6 people, and then there was 2 other tables with 2 people on there, and I don't want to take a picture of those. Okay. Same reason why I couldn't take a picture of the kitchen area, which I should have. But yeah, Matt, there was also another Naruto inspired ramen place that we walked by as well.
Another one?
That I got a picture of the outside, which I'll also send to you at a later date. But Matt, Madrid loves their anime ramen.
Jared, I don't like that anime ramen that you've sent me. Seems to be 100% Naruto.
So Matt, I have to ask you, if we were doing the Mistake Zone's anime ramen, what anime panels do you think would you want to decorate our walls with?
I mean, it has to be kind of, iconic panels, right? Okay, first I think you need something that's all from the big 3.
Yes.
If we're going for original big 3, you need something that's hey, here's first Bankai. What could be the Naruto one? I would want the like Rock Lee Gaara fight for Naruto. And then honestly I I've erased my memory of the One Piece manga. But I'm sure there's something, I feel like the one where what's his face is giving Luffy his hat is a
Fair.
classic one.
Fair. Not you know me. I need me the panel of Nesco saying good morning. We need the classic face.
Oh yes,
somewhere.
Yes, of course, from Ryan Nicky, yeah.
Yep. Matt. We need Ichika pretending to be Miku.
Oh man.
Oh man, Matt.
Jared, you know what? Actually, we didn't really talk about this manga on the Mistake Zone, and I feel like if there's gonna be no better time to talk about it, we need panels from See You Tomorrow at the Food Court.
Fair. Big fair. And that, again, with Anime Ramen's menu, this is definitely a tourist, thing, especially. You need to kind of have a wide net just to kind of get, tourists. But I feel like if we were to have Mistake Zone anime ramen restaurant, we just have to focus on ramen at that point. Right? Like really condensed menu, in my opinion. Not other than ramen, what starters would we also offer?
Of course, gyoza. Of course,
Yes.
I think takoyaki. Some kind of fried tofu dish. I think I'm just going off of the menu for Kintan right now.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough. Matt, I guess if we ever come across money, we need to look into not only what's it called? Freelancing? A Kintan, but also seeing how we're able to
franchising Kintan.
franchising a Kintan, but also seeing how flexible we are with the actual branding.
Jared, I think all the Kintans are designed the same.
Now we need that anime ramen. We need to put the panels on the wall.
Oh,
but also in Madrid, went to Otaku Center, which is a anime, manga adjacent store. Really cool store. My partner just bought like a few little trinkets. Didn't Matt? Even though they had like a lot of different figures, I sent you a picture, especially that virtual fighter of Sarah.
Oh man, that's amazing.
That Figma figure that I really wanted, but at the same time, 100 euros, and we also know that converting to Canada Moon money, not the best. But also, Matt, trying to bring back any actual big things, because we only brought like a backpack each and a small carry-on. Because again, we didn't really want to overpack. So bringing anything bigger would have been a challenge. But, around this area, there is a lot of different hobby stores that focus on different comic books, different figures. In one store, I did see a lot of N64 games. But Matt, I saw a copy of Tony Hawk's Underground 2, the PC physical, in the wild.
I didn't even know there was a PC physical of that game.
Matt, it was €7, and I should have just bought it. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know how to play it. I wouldn't know how it worked, because after a quick Google search, it was a lot of people asking, so how do I actually run this? This isn't running on my Windows 10 machine. And Matt, the only PC in my house with a disk drive that you built me, I believe, close to 12 years ago, is blue screening really bad right now. So that's pretty MIA. So Matt, that's my regret of the trip of not buying this Thug 2 PC physical release in the wild. But that day we also came across chocolate. It was essentially San Ginés, I believe, but it was this churros placemat. One of those places that they give you a big cup. You can order a big cup of melted chocolate, and then you can dip your churros in. It was a pretty long wait. It was a good I think they were turning the inside tables pretty fast just because you're ordering churros and dipping it in chocolate. Nothing really too big, but it was still one of the longer waits in our trip. But we took the train. Finally, we got to Barcelona, and Matt, this was probably what the most quote unquote like cultural things that we did during our whole trip, just because we went to a lot more museums and I think a lot of the tourist areas, but just it was a lot of us appreciating art, not only in museums, but also just the street art in general. A lot of good street art that we came across, a lot of collaborations from artists just doing out in the open exhibit, not necessarily, or I guess it would be exhibits just in alleyways, which I thought were pretty cool too. We went to the Picasso Museum as well. Plus we went to one of those off museums, something similar to a Team Labs in Japan. We went to White Rabbit. It just opened, I think, 3 weeks ago, and it had, I believe, 8 exhibits. And we thought that, this would be, go pretty fast. But we ended up being there for like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like it was a good take on that off museum just because all the artists that contributed the exhibits to White Rabbit, it was all based off something really cultural to Barcelona, whether it be certain characters, certain concepts, certain celebrations, history, and even like the Olympics in the 90s, and just the different kind of art pieces associated with the Olympics there as well, kind of in more bite-sized forms in the museum. I thought it was a really cool experience. Again, they said that they only opened like 3 weeks ago, so it's still fairly new. They're still trying to get established, and I think it was a really, interesting way to engage in culture, like Barcelona culture, while still having that, photo op spectacle that you would expect from Team Labs, because you still get that room of lights. At one point there's a VR exhibit that kind of goes through not only the folklore history of Barcelona, but also kind of these traditions of people making these human towers, and then it's just kind of you hovering around looking at these people trying to make this human tower, and I thought it was pretty cool as well. So do recommend White Rabbit if you're in the Barcelona area, if you just want that photo op experience as well. And yeah, Matt, overall, and Matt finally had to tell you about the anime stops in Barcelona, because Matt Spain loves anime.
Oh man.
So when we were searching for anime shops in Barcelona, we got one result that said One Piece store and Dragon Ball store. And Matt, it was kind of in this strip mall area where a lot of different hobby shops as well. But again, it was essentially this one store divided into 4 sections. One was purely Dragon Ball. One was purely Naruto. There was a whole section dedicated to Funko Pops.
Makes sense.
And it was just like a bunch of different merch. Some looking official, some looking not so official. But the store in particular I wanted to shout out was Akatsu, where I was actually really impressed by Akatsu, because when you step in, it has that, the first half that we went to really gives it really gives reminiscence of a lot of the secondhand kind of good shops that you would kind of expect in Japan as well. Walls lined up with like the little bags with the different acrylic stands, some display cases with all the different Nandroids and all the different blind box figures that are kind of just lined up and that you can select and purchase. But when you turn the corner, Matt, it goes from that to purely, all these glass shelves lined up with all these different figures. When you turn the corner, this is where all the boxed figures are, and again in the middle it's all these different display cases of all the figures, where you go from secondhand aesthetic to, oh, this looks like an anime museum. So really also recommend Katsu as well. So, but yeah, I think our time in Barcelona was mainly just going to different museums. The Picasso Museum was really cool, and just kind of enjoying the street or the Gothic district. And yeah, overall, that was our trip to Europe. First time in Europe. Really fun. And not gonna lie, before I went on the trip, my sister sent me a lot of Barcelona pickpocket videos, Lisbon pickpocket videos. A lot of my partner's coworkers were saying, oh, just kind of stay on guard for pickpocketers. And Matt, to be honest, like during our time there, we didn't get pickpocketed. We honestly felt really safe. Everyone was, again, as much as I tried to learn, you know me, Matt, before I go on vacation, try to learn all of like the basic phrases, either in Portuguese, either in Spanish, but everyone was really accommodating in English as well. So I did recommend it. And I guess just in terms of safety, as long as you don't look like you're a tourist, as long as you're not like, waving your phone around and just leaving it unattended, but just keeping to yourself, like, the standard safety practices. But yeah, again,
Jen, I think I know a lot of people who've been like pickpocketed in Spain specifically, and Portugal.
Yeah, like everyone was like warning me about it, but yeah, I think for us specifically, I think we were precautious. We kept to ourselves. It was really fun. Forgot to mention, Matt had a lot of Portuguese tarts, fresh Portuguese tarts in Portugal. Really good, Matt. Unfortunately, didn't get the spots in particular, but to round it out, Matt, where on vacation, we would spend our whole days exploring the cities, walking around, going to all these different cafes, these restaurants. Those were our 8-9 hour days, and then we'd go home or go back to the hotel. And Matt, my tradition is I'll watch Cartoon Network or the like Disney Channel or something that plays cartoons, whether it be in English or Spanish, and just have that running in the background. Shout out to Portugal, though. They have a MTV channel that specifically plays 2000s music videos all the time, which I thought was great. But Matt had our VPN up, was able to connect to Crunchyroll, and Matt, during our trip, before we went to bed, we watched some anime, also watched some anime on the planes there and back. I'm going to go through 3 of the anime that I watched, or the only 3 anime that I watched before we round up the episode.
Okay.
But Matt, I watched the first 11 episodes of Bofuri. I Don't Want to Get Hurt, so I'll max out my defense second season. And Matt was a really big fan of the first season with Maple and her friends. And as I watched the second season, it didn't hit me as much as the first season did, mostly because kind of as everyone knows the concept, you have Maple. She's a first-time gamer in this new MMO world. She doesn't want to get hurt, so she maxes out her defense, and that causes a chain reaction where, since I have all these different defenses, I'm exploiting the game in different ways. So I'm getting all these random buffs that the devs didn't really intend to kind of interact with each other. And then she becomes like super OP. She gets a guild and all that. And as I watched like the first 11 episodes of the second season, you kind of, it's still the same premise of Maple. She's still breaking the game. She's getting, what I do appreciate is all the sides of all the different devs talking about how they're trying to balance content or upcoming content where they're still trying to develop a game for the mass population, but at the same time you have this one outliner, this one anomaly in Maple and her guild, and they're breaking the game and they don't know how to react because of course you still want to balance for the masses, but you have someone who is just an outlier. And I feel like that dynamic is interesting, but it's never explored that deeply. And as much as, it's Maple kind of flexing her OP skills and then them doing different events. In that, you don't necessarily learn a lot more about her party members. Sure, we know Sally is scared of horror elements, but that's kind of the extent of what you really do know. What I do like about the season is there are less PvP focused events and more kind of just party events where we see her interacting with the two other top guilds on the server. And it creates opportunities where those members kind of mix together and you have all these parties composed of, or different parties composed of the three main groups. But at the same time, Matt, we're not learning anything about these characters particular. It's like, the fire lady, she's actually a big softie, but she has to give this tough girl appearance to her guild. And that's kind of everything we get.
What more do you need to know about this character?
Yeah, where it's the One Punch Man. It's the goof of these characters are overpowered, but it doesn't go any further than that, where it's kind of just more of the same from season one, but I feel like it loses its effect where, again, it's a slice of life, like OP anime, but at the same time, I feel like I kind of want more story out of this. And to be fair, I haven't finished episode 12, but it doesn't seem like it's going in this direction where I kind of want to learn more about the supporting characters and even Maple herself as the heroine. But maybe this is just me, Matt. I kind of want to learn more about them also outside the game as well, and seeing if they'll ever, just meet, because her and Sally are best friends in real life, but she has this whole guild of characters. But yeah, I don't know, Matt. It just wasn't hitting as much as it did in season one. Like there's this whole Pokemon essentially finding a companion sub story that, now they have their own character, like minions, but that they just have minions. So I don't know, Matt. It not as satisfying as the first season, in my opinion. It's still like an easygoing watch, but at the same time, I kind of want more story out of it. I'll probably finish the season eventually, but I'm hoping if there is a third season. And again, I am not keeping up with the manga, but I hope that it explores more of these characters rather than, how can we interact with this other guild? But Matt, I also I'm caught up to episode 11. I feel like there's only 11 episodes out. I believe they come out Thursday. I'm caught up with Windbreaker. And is that something you're checking out this season?
I am not, Jaren. I haven't really been keeping up with Windbreaker this season.
Okay. But then I was pleasantly surprised by Windbreaker because, you know me, I love that PSP game. I think it was Kenka Bacho Badass Rumble. Matt, I love the idea of delinquent school gangs fighting each other.
Oh, man.
But the twist with Windbreaker is that you have your main character, Hinata, and he's this loner, he's this outcast. He's been pushed to, society, and all his surroundings have been rejecting him. So he wants to go to this new Furin, this school with all the other losers, all the other delinquents, and he wants to be the king delinquent. He wants to fight his way to the top. And then he realizes when he finally gets there, it's, all these, badasses, all these delinquents, they're all coming together to protect the community that accepts them. And I think it was a really good flip on my expectations where I was thinking, this is going to be a shonen. This is going to be really violent. This is just going to be delinquents fighting each other. But it is this story of, Matt, stop me if you heard this before. It's a story of you can't do everything yourself, but if you come together with your friends to uplift each other and do good for the community, that's how you become number one.
Classic Yu-Gi-Oh!
And Matt, I don't know, it's just a good watch. I feel like the fight, I actually rewatched the first episode twice on the plane ride back. I feel like it has a really strong first impression. If I had to be completely honest, there's something, the fight choreography is good enough in my opinion, but at the same time, this is going to be a really weird like analogy, but I feel like it's a bit choppy in a way where Matt, I'm not sure if this will make sense, but if Demon Slayer is 60 frames per second, I think Windbreaker is like running at 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Where
Jared, that's fine. The human eye can only see 30 frames per second, Jared.
Fair enough. But essentially, it's not as fluid as I was expecting. But not to say it's bad, but there was just something off about it to me on first watch. But at the same time, it's like the first episode I really recommend. A lot of action there, but for the first 11 episodes, even though it's Hinata going to a new school, being acquainted with all the different, the main players of Furin, the first, I want to say, like episodes 3 to 10 kind of covered this arc where they're fighting with a rival, I guess, gang from another district. And for, I don't know, I found it kind of weird, but maybe this is just a staple in shonen anime. I found those episodes, you learn a lot more about the other gang than you do kind of like the Furin school, like your main characters in a way, which I think was kind of weird, but I think is kind of expecting of the genre. But I don't know, Matt, I know with episode 11, you're introduced to two of the other first years that Hinata has in his class. So it's a lot of fun so far. But if I had to be honest, Matt, I feel like whenever the boys are fighting like local gangs, like not ones from other district, it all stems from them harassing a girl. And I feel like when you have only 11 episodes and that's kind of your trope to why you're fighting kind of no-name gangs, I feel like there needs to be more variety in terms of... But then again, Matt, what better way to instigate a fist fight? So, I don't know. I recommend Windbreaker. First episode was really fun, action-packed. And Matt, the power of friendship to lift up the community, really good.
It's classic.
But Matt, the main event for my anime watching on vacation after a long day of exploring Europe. Matt, we watched the first episode of Haikyu, the volleyball anime, and we watched the first 5 episodes of season 2. I've been converted.
Oh man, Jerry, you gonna start playing volleyball?
No, but I'm gonna continue watching this beefy boy anime.
You're pretty tall. You could be like, pretty good for volleyball.
Matt, when I watched the first season of Haikyu or whatever,
I think it's Haikyu.
Haikyu. Matt, I kept going back to elementary school trying to play volleyball and how bad I was at volleyball. But
oh man, Sam.
Matt, this was everything. This is such a good shonen anime.
Yes.
Where you can tell it's such a slow burn, but Matt, it just makes sense to me where I love the emphasis, especially in the first season and the second season so far, that they're putting on the idea of a practice match where it makes sense. Like, you don't necessarily have a regular season. You're trying to go for tournaments and then you're trying to get to nationals where those happen so few and far between that I love the importance that they're placing on, the practice match and how important that is to where the stakes are kind of low enough where, there's no reason you need to technically win a practice match, but it's that emphasis of, hey, we're trying to get better. And even if we're losing our practice matches, we're taking something away from it. And Matt, I'm just eating that all up. It's so good. When they get introduced to Nikohana or whatever, like their rival school from Tokyo, perfect up. Matt, I think that's a perfect anime episode. Just that idea of, hey, we have this new old rival, but we also have these new friends and we're just trying to make each other better. And Matt, it's such a slow burn anime where even from the offset, I know this is all leading up to a tournament where they obviously lose, and of course they obviously lose. But at the same time, it's still a satisfying watch where even though they're going through all the different tropes that you would kind of expect from a sports drama like this, I don't know, it still comes together. I keep saying it's a slow burn just because, again, while it might seem like it's dragging, just seeing all the different improvements, just seeing how their communication as a team opens up and introducing new characters, that idea of the third years trying to have that one more tournament before they graduate. So good. Matt, you know me, love me. The team managers, good goofs from them as well. I don't know, Matt. This is such a good anime.
Man.
And I know there was a movie recently. I think it was like the Dumpster Battle movie or whatever. And I believe that slots into season 4. I'm not sure if that's before or after, but need to look into that. But I don't know. Matt, are you a Haikyu boy too?
Not too deeply. I do like watching the odd Haikyu clip here and there, because I think it is a very good like sports series. Jaren, if you ever hit up Japan again, I think you really need to hit up Sendai, because that is where the author for Haikyu is from, and they really show it in that city.
Okay, Matt. Matt, we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, Matt, I don't know. I just love it. Again, it's from just watching season 1, and I guess by the end of it, they're no closer to nationals than, well, they're a bit closer than they were in the start of the season, but that's obviously the goal. But they're introducing all of these different rival teams, all of these different obstacles they have to come. And even though I know that there are 4 seasons, season 2 still has 25 episodes. I think season 3 has 10. There's a movie. I'm still kind of excited to watch it, just because at the same time, I'm also running through all the different scenarios that I've come to expect from the sports genre of, will there be a career-ending injury? Does one of them ever deal with an injury? As I said, the third year is eventually graduating, the new crop coming in, do they actually make it to nationals? And just seeing what check marks they'll cross out. But Matt, this goes back to a conversation you and Rakush had last week, where I feel like, to me personally, Bang Dream is what I kind of want from a anime rhythm game, where you have your basic rhythm game, but you also have the slice of life coding around it, where I think I am still looking for that, as you guys mentioned, that Persona sports game that mixes that arcade-ness with the over-the-top moves. That's still kind of grounded, where I still also just want the drama around it, but also the friendship around it as well, Matt. But yeah, that was my time with Haikyu so far. Man. Maybe I'll check in every now and then. But Matt, I've been talking a long time, so have to ask you, have you been up to anything this week since you last talked to Rakush?
Jaren, I have been getting the 2024 summer anime season video ready. I have been working on, creating some other new content that I want to put out onto our YouTube channel. And I don't know, Jared, I thought I would get, we pre-recorded some episodes, and while you were gone, that meant that I could do all the editing bulk at once, and I have so much more time for myself. Jaren, all I did was honestly nothing. I aspired to do so much work, and I did nothing. I started playing Enshrouded, Jaren, and that has just been... Jaren, I had a good sleep schedule going, and then I decided to start playing Enshrouded, and it did that thing where it really knocked my sleep schedule off, because I keep thinking, I can get a couple more hours of gaming in, but I goofed, Jaren, I goofed.
It's okay, Matt. Matt, I think you deserved whatever you want to do. So if you don't want to, if you just want to play in Shroud, which I think we will talk about in depth in a week or probably next week, maybe.
Next week or the week after, yeah.
Since I don't know when that Nintendo Direct is, because of course it's Summer Games Fest. Trying to catch up in all the news that I missed on vacation as well. There is some stuff I want to talk about from the Summer Games Fest, the Xbox presser, the PlayStation State of Play that we didn't get to really talk about in person as well, and of course the Nintendo Direct. So that episode's coming up.
Yes.
And Matt?
The current rumor for the Nintendo Direct is the 18th, according to an Among Us related leak.
All right.
But
okay. Then maybe the week after is Matt. There's that Elden Ring DLC that I'm kind of getting itching to play as well.
I've been watching people like play. I don't know. Is it out already, Jaren? It is out already, right?
No, this Friday or this Thursday.
Okay, so I guess I've been watching just like people play the early preview stuff.
Yeah.
Man, Jaren, I kind of want to go back in, but I know I don't want to actually go back in.
I'll keep you posted because I feel like this week, in between Fortnite, because Matt, I gotta catch up. I'm gonna get reacquainted with a certain hill, with a certain raven, and certain mobs. Just try to learn my controls again.
Oh, Jared, I heard that the DLC was designed to not be grindable.
Yes, I think I know these said it's similar to the attack, leveling up your attack in Sekiro. So I kind of want to see how that works out. But Matt, you know me, I need to hopefully Azure Comet is able to carry me with Mimic Tears still. But Matt, until then, I think it's time for a Don't Match Me challenge. Matt,
Okay.
Vacation challenge round 2.
Okay.
Matt, have to mention your Monster Hunter Don't Match Me challenge last week. Somehow I made it through with all my knowledge from Monster Hunter now, and
nice.
Hopefully this works out for our friends this week as well. Just because, as I said, Matt went on vacation this week, or the last 2 weeks. Came back to tell you about all my happenings, but Matt. In terms of my European vacation, for this Don't Match Me challenge, question 1, simple. Name a European country.
Okay.
Just any European country in general. Whatever comes to mind. And let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt and friends, if you said Romania, sorry.
Ooh.
You are out.
I went with Switzerland, Jaren. Switzerland.
Nice.
Jared, man, I'm so afraid I'm gonna do like something dumb and like, it's like, name a city, and I just like you're like name a city in France, and I name one that's in like Italy or something.
Matt, you know these get more specific, but not that specific. Because Matt, I was in Spain and I had to have the delicacies from anime ramen. So Matt, question 2, probably a bit more broad than question 1, but still in that ballpark. Matt, in honor of anime ramen, easy peasy, just name a noodle dish. Just name any noodle dish. And it can be whatever you think. Pasta, could be any other alternative noodle, but name any noodle dish in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt had to go with spaghetti.
Ooh, I went with Cantonese chow mein.
Nice. Matt, initially I was going to say pancit, but for some reason M&M came into my head last minute, so I had to change to spaghetti. But Matt, during my vacation, I went to a lot of cafes.
Yes.
So question 3, name any beverage you can order from a cafe.
Ooh.
Any beverage. This could be hot, cold, anything in particular, but just name any beverage you can order from a cafe in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt and friends, if you said a flat white, you are out.
Okay. Jaren, I went with the iced latte. I don't know if that's not the same, right?
Nope, that's not the same. You can get an iced flat white, but I'll say that's different.
Okay.
Matt, I ordered a lot of flat whites on vacation.
Jaren, what constitutes a flat white? Because I've seen that on menus before, but I don't know what it is.
So Matt, a flat white is, according to our friends Wikipedia, a flat white is a coffee drink consisting of an espresso and steamed milk, which I guess is also a latte. But Matt, I'm going to say it's different from a latte for my purposes on the Don't Match Me challenge. Plus, you said iced latte, and I just said flat white. So, whatever. So, Matt, time to test our friends' listening skills.
Ooh.
And Matt, question 4. Simply name a city I went to during my vacation.
Ooh.
And that was technically 5 different cities I went to in Portugal and Spain. So just any one of those cities that I went to in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt? If you and our friends were trying to be sneaky and said Sintra, which is Matt, it's technically a resort town in Portugal, but for my purposes of the Don't Match Me challenge, I wanted to get those sneaky people who thought that, he went to the Sintra castle, but got you, Matt. Got you guys.
All right. Jaren, I'm good. I went with Lisbon.
Nice.
I always thought it was spelled with an E. And when you sent me your show notes, I realized it's spelled with an O.
All right. Nice, Matt. Nice, Matt. But Matt, speaking about getting really specific.
Okay.
Final question of the Don't Match Me challenge vacation part 2. Matt? And friends? Name an anime that I watched during my vacation. Name an anime. So Matt, this one is really unfair, but it's better than name a chocolate that we ate this episode.
Oh, man.
Not by much. But just name an episode, name a anime that I watched during my vacation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt? And friends? If you said Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense second season. Sorry, you're out.
Jaren? Yeah. I got hurt.
No. Matt, your defense wasn't strong enough for the 1 in 3.
Oh, man.
Matt, that was pretty mean. Matt, I'm moving forward. I'm going to try to. I feel like with the Don't Match Me challenge, 1 in 4 should be my limit.
Oh, man.
Not saying.
I mean, I think 1 in 3 is fine. I think that's okay.
1 and 2 should be a no-go.
1 and 2 should no. I don't think it should ever be a 50-50.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see moving forward. We'll see moving forward. Potential other Don't Match Me categories I was considering. Name any item from McDonald's. Actually, Matt. Bonus round. Okay. I know I saved the bonus rounds as Easter eggs, but Matt. Don't Match Me challenge. Name any item from McDonald's.
Okay.
So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt. And friends, if you said the recent McShaker fries, is it McShaken fries? The shaker fries. You're out.
Jared, I'm good. I went with the Oreo McFlurry, the classic.
Classic. And Matt, that is a Beefy Boy episode of telling you about my vacation to Portugal and Spain. I had a good time. Matt, a lot more anime than I was expecting. Or not expecting. But still, good times were had. As always, I want to thank you for joining me this week. And again, Matt, holding it down last week with the Rakuj and editing this podcast episode.
Yo, thanks, man. Jaren, I want to thank you for, taking this trip and giving us an episode's worth of content and bringing me these delicious, delicious chocolates that I now need to find a way to get here in Canada.
No, we can probably find it somewhere, hopefully. But until then, I want to thank Portugal. I want to thank Spain. I want to thank street art. I want to thank chocolate. Matt, I want to thank the Filipino employee at White Rabbit, the Off Museum. And Matt, Felt bad when she asked if I could speak Tagalog, and I told her no.
Jaren,
Classic Matt.
I am so always afraid of going to Jollibee because I don't want them to talk to me in Tagalog.
Oh man, Matt. I don't know. Now all this trauma is coming up. So I think we should cut it for now. But Matt, I know I'm probably going to save this for a month in time, but want to thank Nagatoro.
Hey.
And that will make sense in a month's time. But until then, Matt, take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of official lemonade coffee.